In fact, if we discuss about the post-giving scenario, what is going to happen? We will have to go back a few steps. In fact, our economy is already facing the slowdown. Slowdown is of two types. One is cyclical. Cyclical slowdown means that after every 5-10 years there is a slowdown, recession, trough. So there may be a V shape. The prices come down, and then once they touch the trough, they start to go up, and there comes a time when the economy touches the same level of growth. This slowdown may also be structural. Structural slowdown stays for longer, and it is much more harmful than the cyclical slowdown. Structural slowdown means there are some demographic, technological, and policy related regions which are creating a recessionary trend to stay for a long, until and unless some very effective measures are adopted. Effective measures in the sense that can suit to the given economy. For example, in certain big economies, printing of new currency can work in such a wet hours. But in the countries like ours, where the scope for increasing the demand to another bigger level is not possible, such kind of measures do not work. So another additional printing of the notes is going to create or to intensify the problem further, and it is not going to provide any remedy. So in fact, after the 3-4 quarters have passed and we could not recover, now we name it as structural slowdown. And this structural slowdown is bound to proceed towards the long-term recession, which may be of three kinds. First, the V shape, where we can recover in a very normal way. There is no any long-term impact behind. There is U shape recession, when there are certain long-term losses. Once the prices touch the trough, it stays for a good deal of time, and it takes a lot of structural reforms to uptrend the growth again. And another type of recession, the last one is the most dangerous, that is L shape. Once the prices have touched the trough, nobody knows how long will it stay, leaving behind a lot of aftermath. So the Indian economy can be said to be in the second category, since last 6 to 7 quarters, despite all the efforts, we have failed to take our economy towards further growth. At the same time, due to lot of NPAs and mismanagement of the loans provided by the banks, our banks are also facing very challenging situations. In fact, we are passing through 2017 twin balance sheet fiasco. What is this? 2017 twin balance sheet fiasco is a scenario that started from 2017, where both the sides of the balance sheet of the banks are failing. On the one hand, banks are unable to recover its loans and that is getting into NPA account. On the other hand, corporate houses are failing to pay their EMIs because they are unable to maintain their profitability. And this tendency is continuously degrading our banks to a very poor situation. So, in this wet hours, COVID-19 happened. Although it didn't happen in India only, it started from China and then spread to whole of the world. And many part of the world is facing it in the most grim situations. The condition that this COVID-19 has put several countries is really very pathetic. But thanks to the Indian government that they have taken decisions very timely and they have been able to control it quite before it could become deadly for our people. So, in this pandemic situation, some new trends that we can observe: the education sector has got affected to a great extent. So many of the online educational companies like Baiju, UN Academy, they are growing by the rate of 25%. Now 82% of the time or of the usage is online only. Similarly, health sector. Now government has realized that we need to shift our focus from several things in the light of the emerging challenges. The mobile app have been introduced, a new method to keep watch over the health movement and people's habits, not only to keep watch but also to provide them clue how should they manage the pandemic situation. Such kind of health management based on a technology dominated, that has become the main nerve of the strategy. Tertiary sector, for example, travel, aviation, hotel, they have got affected very badly. So people are unable to think about how they will be able to come out of this scenario. Informal sector, which is 85% of the population and which has 40% 40% contribution to the GDP, 40% also that comes from the real estate, which is very widely dependent on the labor force, construction labor force. They are all going to get affected in very bad way. So the main challenge that our policy makers have to deal with is relating to these sectors. And if we call about the management, what management is doing or what in the future is going to be the major breakthrough is related to the leadership. The leadership styles are going to change because of the changing way of the work. Every organization who has to survive will have to find its core strength. Until and unless the companies which have to cope up with the post-COVID-19 scenario, they will have to find their core strength. Core strength means the major business area. For example, I am a professor. My major or core area is teaching. Apart from this teaching, I do several other works. I write books, make money from that. I deliver lectures in several places. I work as expert to several institutions. I make money from them. I do consultancy works. I do research works for industrial organizations. I make money from there. So instead of focusing all these non-core areas, I have first and foremost to safeguard my job, and my job is safeguarded by the core function, and the core function is teaching. So I have to focus on teaching first and foremost so that I could save my job, and then if the job is saved, everything else will remain to serve my purposes and goals in the future course of time. Similarly, a business house will also have to focus on the core strength only in the post-COVID scenario. Every business house will have to reduce its liability, because if businesses take risk to increase the liability, they will find themselves in troubled water. So better focus on liquidity, assets instead of liability and investment. There is a very popular saying, a bird in hand is better than two in bush. So in the post-COVID scenario, the business houses should first and foremost look for the liquidity. Even if they have to sacrifice their profit benefits, if the liquidity is there, they will be able to manage the emergency situations. Then pause and think. The business houses should stop. They should rethink about their business model. They should rethink about their future strategies, because things have changed a lot. Technology has become the mainstay. How you can boost up your business model with the help of technology, because in this COVID-19 emergency, one thing that has emerged as a great power, as a great booster, as a great silver line is the power of technology. Every sector is going to harness technology in order to grow faster than every other competitor. So pause and think about the possibility of integrating with the technology so that you could cope up with the similar situations in the days to come. Follow your instincts. Many a times people think in different way, and there emerge some very popular thoughts, some very popular opinions. Business houses should not run after that. They should rather follow their instinct. They should consider and reconsider about their plan. Of course, the existing examples may guide them, but their inner instinct can be truer than everything else. Then take tough decisions. The post-COVID scenario will demand tough decision making practices. You'll have to be ready for tough decisions. Otherwise, it will be difficult to cope up with the challenges. So, three things will be the major or key factors in the post-COVID scenario. First, technology. 60 to 40% of new jobs will be based on technology only. From one forecast, the technology has become so dominant that in the coming 3 years there will be 60 million new jobs, but due to this technology dominance, 40 million old jobs will also be finished, and still 20 million will be the residue that will create the employment. Second thing, work from home culture is going to increase. Various business houses will be reducing their cost, will be increasing their efficiency, will be decreasing their workforce by allowing or demanding people to work from home. And third thing, superior social skills will dominate. Students should particularly be careful about developing new technical skills. The future is going to be more technical than generalistic. MBA course students are generally generalist. Now they will have to think about equipping themselves in new manner, so that they could adopt the technology like technocrats. So it will not be necessary to do a full-time courses like BTech and MBA and similar other courses based on investment banking or others. Rather, there will be small online courses which will be welcomed much more than these full-time long-term courses. So students should consider about equipping themselves with the new skills, not only the technical skills, but social skills will also be important. EQ will dominate. EQ will be the tool that will show you the path even in the time of all the uncertainties. So students must focus on how they can enrich themselves in the superior technical as well as social skills. They will have to work in team now. Team culture will dominate. Working from home demands the team culture. So, how to work in teams will be very important. When teams will be working from home, it will be the leadership style based on influencing, not the authority that will dominate. So, managers should also learn how to manage by influencing people rather using their authoritarian capabilities. So digital marketing will be new normal. People having these new skills capabilities will be able to join the additional sources of income, and it will be possible only for them who have additional skills. Freelancing will be the demand of all the corners. Every organizations, every business houses, in order to save on cost, they will avoid to appoint employees permanently. Rather, they will look for employees who could do their job for that particular category only, and temporary jobs like freelancing, and even affiliate marketing. What is affiliate marketing? Affiliate marketing is to sell the products produced by other organization. Although you are not producing anything, but you are marketing, you are engaged in marketing, and you are marketing others' product for the sake of commission. So companies will like to employ such affiliate marketeers who could save on their cost. Freelancing will be the story of the day. People having additional skills, they could write, create the content, they could create advertisements, they could do affiliate marketing, work as an influencer. Influencer means doing such activity which could enhance the sales of other organizations. So such kind of new methods of employment, new way to get the job done will dominate. You see, India is one of the country in the world which has very fast rising number of internet users. Today, there are 462 million users of internet. 400 million users of smartphone. There are 200 million users of Facebook. So social marketing has great scope. How to use the internet to harness the marketing capabilities, to increase your employability, to integrate your additional skills with this feature of Indian economy where technology is rampant, where internet use is constantly rising, where the number of Facebook users is on fast increase. How to exploit all these tendencies will be demand of the time on the part of the students. Similarly, there can be web managers, there can be web creators, there can be FAQ contents manager. You can create your websites in order to make money. For example, FAQ contents websites. FAQ contents websites means frequently asked questions contents. Frequently asked questions regarding the new facilities, new way to register, new way to start a business, new way to do some marketing, new way to get admission. Any website which is providing such kind of contents will have huge scope in the post-COVID scenario. So we are finding that the post-COVID scenario is able to provide so many new silver lining despite all the grim factors that we are facing today, and we are unable to see any silver lining at the end of the tunnel. But still there are. It can be well learned from the previous examples that I started with my discussion, and therefore I can well end with the saying of the Martin Luther King, that is, we must accept finite disappointments, but we must not forget infinite silver lining. Thank you very much. You can put your questions in the comment box, which I shall try to answer either personally, via the email group, or the Google Class. Thank you.